Hello and welcome to Gorilla and the Geek, the podcast for sweaty nerds by sweaty nerds. My name is Kyle from Geeks Weekly, and I am joined, as always, by my friend John the Ginger Gorilla. John, how you doing today?
Doing good. New hairstyle. Courteous. What's the word I'm looking for?
Courtesies.
Courtesies. There we go. We're starting off great here. Courtesies to Kyle over here with the influence. He is my fashion guru. So new hair. Who dis?
I like that.
But yeah,
That's good energy.
welcome everybody to this week's podcast. What is this, number 11? I think we.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go with it.
Let's go with number 11. If we skipped one, then I meant number 10. You know what I meant. But welcome. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot has happened since our last podcast. And when I say a lot, I mean on both ends, Kyle's and mine.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
So movie world and video game world, we have a lot going on. So Kyle, let's get right into it. What do you got for
Well,
us?
I'm glad you mentioned the term video games in general, John, because my topics today actually include video games and is a slight extension of the conversation we had last podcast. So, Sonic the Hedgehog, it is doing really well financially. Right now, it is sitting at domestically, it has made $86 million, $86.7 million to be exact. Internationally, it's at $50.5 million. And worldwide, it's at $137 million grossed. Now, one second, John. Let me just look up what the budget of the film was. Oh, wow. Awesome. The budget of the movie was $85 million.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they're in pretty good shape right now.
So,
And
just like the
go
picture
ahead.
you sent me, you could say that Sonic is rolling around in that cash.
Yes, sir.
He's
Is that on
making
screen right
that
now?
money. Got it on the screen right now.
Awesome.
Sonic
Yeah.
is rolling around in it.
He's doing Snow Angels
Which
in the
I
dollars.
I like because it's a video game movie, and when video game movies do well, then we get more video game movies, and hopefully they like put more. They're good. They get taken like we had this conversation before. Just like just like the superhero movies, you get taken a little more seriously, then you could do more with them, right? They're seen as actual works of art instead of just a throwaway here, make a movie for the people who play video games and might enjoy it, right?
Absolutely. And my thing is, video game movies need to do well financially in order for people to be invested in creating more video game movies that are high quality.
Yes.
You need to get a return in your investment. That's why I don't think a lot of people realize why certain movies do get priority, like remakes, like sequels and stuff. Because if a studio knows, hey, if I put my money into this, I'm going to make money back, that's the only financially intelligent decision to make.
Yeah.
And I think that if we can put money into this genre, I know I haven't seen Sonic yet. I want to. I believe John does eventually as well.
Yes.
Even if it's not something I see in theaters because it's already doing well, I'd rent this movie just to support it or whatever. I think that it's really important that these movies do make money, which Sonic is making.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually leads to the next picture I sent you.
Next picture.
Because
Boom,
there is an Uncharted movie coming out, which
With-
begins shooting in a month.
And I'm very interested by the person that we see in this picture,
Yep.
Mr. Tom Holland, our
Mhm.
beloved Spider-Man, my favorite
Yes, sir.
Spider-Man personally.
Same.
So that I'm assuming they're casting him as Nathan Drake,
They are, yes.
which very interesting. One, his look fits it, right? If you look right now at this picture, very very similar looks between them, but it just feels a little young.
Do you think that that could be a good thing, though, and that he can be used in sequels because he's so young?
Yes. And just kind of like a Tomb Raider type series. I think it could be done like that. Given now, I don't think the Tomb Raider series have always been the best. But I do think like this storyline, I don't know if you know the storyline behind it or basically
Not
kind of
well.
the genre.
I
So-
know the gist of it, but not all of it.
So
But you can
for-
explain to listeners.
Yeah, for everyone listening, he's basically goes and it's male Tomb Raider actually. It's kind of wild. It's basically a male Tomb Raider. So he goes to different places and artifacts and he discovers things and it's like he's a historian and he gets other people are trying to get it before him and then he has to get it before him. But he's an adventurer, right? So he has to go and get different artifacts and whatnot, dangerous things. You have to solve puzzles, so on and so forth. That's a video game. But I do think Tom Holland works perfectly well for it because he's this guy that's put together, very clean cut, but then he has to go out, get rugged. So he's very in shape. Tom Holland's an in shape kid, which it's weird because, but how old is he? Our age?
He's close. He's like 23, I think.
Yeah, so that's weird that I don't know why. He has that baby face, so I have to call him a kid. Yeah. But it's just, I think this works perfectly, and this is very exciting because this is what we were just saying. I think this movie could be done very well. Right? Like, I feel like it could be a very good storyline, almost like an Indiana Jones-esque type thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the really exciting thing about it is you now have, I feel like we're almost losing the tried and true movie star nowadays.
Yes.
And when I say that, I mean, we don't have the young Brad Pitts anymore. We don't have the young Leos anymore who are just out here pumping out movies throughout Hollywood, being the biggest stars in the world. I think the last person that had the chance to do that was Michael B. Jordan in his 20s, I mean.
Yeah.
And he was very selective with his films. And while he cranked out good content, I think the lack of volume stopped him from being much bigger earlier on. But Tom Holland signing on to what possibly could be a really good franchise, 2 of them now. He could be the next Harrison Ford. We don't know. I mean, Harrison Ford had Han Solo and Indiana Jones. Maybe Tom Holland has Nathan Drake and Spider-Man. It's really exciting, I think. I'm really hyped.
One of my favorite things with him too is like, it's not. I don't know if this plays into so much. One, he's a great actor. I think he does wonderful work.
Sure.
But outside, he's a great personality, and I think that works. That has to be part of like that superstar type. What we were just talking about.
For sure.
And I think that could really help him.
Yes.
Because it's just like if you don't know this, one of his problems with the Marvel movies was he kept leaking information that he wasn't, and like that's so lovable. Like the fact that like he kept he would say something and you'd see him in the interview go, "Oh, I don't know if I was supposed to say that." And like just like that like personality of him, he doesn't seem like an asshole. Like he doesn't, and I think that's especially nowadays. Like I think in the past you may have been able to get away with being an asshole and being a super movie star because of the disconnect from you and your audience. But now I think you need to be lovable like he is in order to have that type of reach to people. And I do agree that I think he could be that new face because he's so young still. Right?
Exactly.
We have years and years and years, hopefully, of Tom Holland, right? Almost like a Daniel Radcliffe-esque. Now, given that when Daniel Radcliffe was younger, he only did Harry Potter type things. But then, like, I felt like he was basically a superstar, given he started a lot earlier in the movies.
Well, that's why he started in such a big franchise at a young age. But his thing was afterwards, when you do one specific franchise for so long, it's kind of like you have to branch off and do different things.
So then he went and did. I know he did Broadway stuff for a long time. Now he's on that TV show. Crap.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but
it's like where they're like an agency or whatever. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But
and one more video game movie thing. Eli Roth, who for those of you who have watched Inglourious Bastards, he played, and this is the character's name, I'm not calling him this, he played the Bear Jew. He also directed The Green Mile, I believe was the film's name, which is like one of the most disgusting movies I've ever seen. He is directing the Borderlands movie.
I didn't know there was a Borderlands movie. That's very
it's
interesting.
being thought of.
That's very unique.
And I don't know anything about Borderlands other than the Fortnite crossover, so I can't speak to it. That's just something I wanted to bring up in terms of the fact that there's another video game movie being in the early stages of production. And I'm telling you, I think this is going to be the decade. I think this is going to be the decade of video game movies.
This is the theme. Bro, nerds should rejoice right now. Us geeks need to rejoice on what we're getting in this generation, right?
Yep.
When we were young, we had a geek in our closets, right? We had a geek in our rooms, okay? We were geeks. It was a hard time for us, okay?
Yeah.
All you young geeks now don't understand because you have superhero movies are cool, right? Going to Comic Cons is so much more socially acceptable now, right?
Yeah.
Than it was in the past. Now, given neither of us been to a Comic Con, we're not that level of geek. I respect them, okay? The early
Yeah.
geeks who did that, who are now like possibly rolling around in money because they're streamers or because they are the content creators behind the bigger media things like Collider and all that.
Yeah.
Respect to those people because they went through they went through the grit to get where we are today. They were on the front lines of help making this a socially acceptable thing. But it's just I love seeing where this is going because I agree with you on this that this is the generation, we're gonna get so many movies, and I think people are realizing that video games are just more than like button mashing and like sitting in your room being nerdy.
Yeah.
There's so many good storylines. I think a Skyrim movie would be really cool. That
From what I've heard, yeah.
And I think we talked about this a little bit last time. I don't remember though. I think there's another Mortal Kombat movie in production.
There is.
Yeah, so we got that coming out. Which I mean, yeah. But I like the way I've heard talks about this one. I feel like they're doing a lot more in it to make it a legit movie.
So here's the thing. I think you can do a movie like Mortal Kombat if you lean into the campy nature of it, but make it quality camp. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Kind of like so I would say Mad Max Fury Road is a little bit campy.
Yeah.
Because you got a dude playing a guitar with fire on it and stuff. There's that big fat dude with all that metal on his face. However, it's executed extremely well. So you got to have fun with it, but you have to put a lot of care into the movie as well.
I think the same thing would be with the Borderlands, because the Borderlands is so unique, so Renegade-esque. There's so many unique characters in it that you'd have to do the same thing. And I think that's with a lot of video game movies, just kind of like with the superhero movies. You had to lean into it to a certain extent. Like, you got to be like, okay, obviously we're not going for realism here. It's a superhero universe. It's a superhero this, superhero that. So not everything is super realistic because
we have men running around in underwears.
Exactly, right? Like there's a giant green dude smashing things in the street. You don't see that every day.
No.
Which, I mean, they played into, obviously, with the whole aliens coming in and whatnot in Avengers. But I do think you need to take that route at least to mess with these movies. But just like what we said with the video games, there's so many genres you could go down too with video game movies. And it's easier because for the most part, the storylines are written. Now, obviously, is it going to transfer from video game screen to movie screen perfectly just without having to do anything? No. But it's still, I think it would still be a lot easier than coming up with a movie by itself or whatnot. Maybe even easier than adapting a comic to why can't I use words? A comic to a movie, right? Possibly. It might be easier than doing that. I don't know. I just think it's already there. The source material is there to use, especially for the more serious story-based games.
Exactly, yeah. And again, I just think you take care, you take your time, you craft well-made stories, well-made characters, and you have successful franchises on your hand. And that is the formula to success for any movie. But with that being said, I would like to share some trailers for our viewers. The first one, if you will be so kind as to pull it up, John, is the trailer for The French Dispatch.
Boom.
Now, here's the thing, people. The two trailers I have this week, if you ask me what the movies are about, I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you at all. You know why? Because it's just awe-striking visuals for both these trailers. This first movie is made by Wes Anderson, who is like a powerhouse, and it's a star-studded cast, including Bill Murray, Timothée Chalamet, Princess Padme, whose name I can't remember right now, and a bunch of other people. So to tell you how deep cut nerd I am. So yeah, it looks incredible. Every single shot in this trailer genuinely looks like a painting. It's weird. It's one of the trailers. It's one of the trailers that you see if you're a really, really big fan of indie films or just creative filmmaking in general. That when you watch these trailers, you go, wow, I think I need to see that. Not just want to, I think I need to. The second trailer is similarly aesthetically beautiful. It is for The Green Knight. Now, I'm not sure if you know anything about this movie, John. I know
I've
nothing.
seen the trailer, right?
Yeah.
And it's very weird because
Yes. A
it
lot of
tells you
visuals.
yeah, there's a lot of visual. It tells you, okay, this guy's trying to become a great knight, I feel like, type of storyline.
Sure.
But I don't even know if it's that. Like, I just know
Could
that,
not
like,
be.
yeah, that this guy is, there's a guy and he's a knight and he has to, I think, prove himself. But it also hooks you in a way, right?
Yeah, for sure. And one second, let me just look up some specifics on this movie. First of all, it's produced by A24. Shout out. What's the movie we were talking about last night?
Parasite?
Nope.
Nope. Wait,
With
who?
the Sandman.
Bro. What?
With Adam Sandler.
Oh, Uncut Gems.
Thank you. I knew something
Yes.
with a U. They produced.
That's
Wow, that's not a
wow.
great look for a movie guy.
Wow.
So yeah, they produce Uncut Gems. They're producing this
Yes.
movie. It
A24
stars
isn't that Adam Sandler's production company?
no, not entirely. He
Okay.
might be tied with them. I'm not entirely sure, but um, yeah, they produce that movie. They make really good content. Dev Patel's an awesome actor. It's really nice to see a brown person in a medieval movie. Just throwing
Yeah,
that out
very
there.
interesting.
Also, like to see different people of color in movie star roles like this. Like
Hmm.
we rarely see big leading men from Asia. You know what I'm saying? It's really dope. And it just looks like a really, really interesting movie. It could be action packed. There was a
Yes.
scene with puppets cutting each other's heads off in the
Yeah,
trailer.
it seemed like, yeah, that was very interesting.
So check those two out. I think they're incredibly well crafted trailers in terms of the visuals, and they're kind of wonderfully weird. I think you'll enjoy them.
Yeah. So with that too, the first one I haven't seen. So you sold me on that. And then the second one, it was already, if for my second little endorsement here is, it's one of those things that you watch and you're like, I don't really know what's going on, but I want to see more type of
Yeah,
movie. And well, the trailer, and I think that's how trailers should be, right?
I agree for
Nowadays
sure.
we get a lot of trailers that give way too much away, and I think that's like a huge problem. So it's exciting to see that these trailers like got you hooked and then but didn't tell you too much, right? Because that's
Mhm.
what a trailer should do. Um, any other movie topics from you today, Kyle?
I
Any
personally,
we record the last one right before the Oscars. Do you have any comments on that?
shout out the Oscars for getting their heads out their asses and voting for Parasite for Best Picture.
Yes.
I was so hyped, and Bong Joon Ho for Best
Hmm.
Director, which I freaking predicted like a gosh darn G on the last podcast. I got almost every pick correct except for Best Lead Actress. Oh
Rip.
no, yeah, I should have just gone with my gut and just gone
Rip.
with Judy.
Rip.
But other than that, I think I got every single one correct that I predicted. I might
Yeah,
be wrong.
that was wild. You did a really good job. This type of quality research we do and just time we put into our nerdiness over here at Girl and the Geek. And if you want more of it, always check out Geeks Weekly YouTube channel. Shout out
And
Kyle.
hit that subscribe button, baby.
Yes. So but with that, I just think it was amazing to see. Once again, we have been a strong proponent of Parasite since we went to go see it. On this podcast, we've done nothing but rave about it. And if you still haven't seen it, make sure you check it out because it is
Oh,
such a good movie.
by the way,
By the way.
small tangent.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So the president of the United States,
Yes.
during one of his rallies,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not a political podcast. I'm not going to discuss my views on him, whatever the case may be. However, he decided to say that the Oscars, I'm going to paraphrase, that the Oscars were whack because a foreign movie won Best Picture. And clearly, in terms of film, he is a mouth-breathing Neanderthal. Just in terms of movies, just in terms of film.
Yeah.
Because clearly he didn't see the movie. He didn't see any of the other movies that came out this year. He's probably busy running the country. Don't blame him. But to say that foreign films should not be celebrated within America is stupid. If a
Wild.
foreign movie is the best movie of the year, then it is the best movie of the year, period. And you know what was the best movie of last year, John?
What was that called?
Mother frickin' Parasite. Just because it's made in South Korea does not mean it should be devalued. Just because something is made over here doesn't mean it should be devalued over there. It's art is art. It doesn't matter who makes it, for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm still not out here looking at Hitler pieces. Um,
Bro, but do you know what's wild?
I heard he's really good.
Well, Mein Kampf is like apparently like a huge book. Like it's actually like a good like if you read
I
it,
heard,
there's
yeah.
a lot of stuff coming out of it. But it just shows you like the quality of art. It could supersede a lot of things. Like
Yeah, including patriotism. So
yeah,
if you're someone who is a Trump person, whatever, don't let your patriotism stop you from appreciating great art. Let yourself experience stuff. Don't hold back just because of subtitles, just because it's made somewhere that you don't relate to. Try and experience these things because it can really open your eyes to some really great stuff. That's
it's
all I
like
wanted to
taking a
say.
vacation without having to leave your house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice. You get
True.
to experience a little bit of culture, and it's like dipping your toes in the water. You get to experience it without getting any repercussions that you might think that may happen, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's a win-win situation.
Hmm.
But that was
And don't worry, I
that
will
was a
not
good
be
tangent.
discussing politics anymore on this podcast.
Yeah,
Just
no,
when
that was
politics
just
intersects with one of our topics. That's
yeah,
all.
yeah. Like I got. Oh, actually, I could bring that up too, because on the other side of the mantle, we had Joe Biden talk about one of that video games are still like this horrible thing for the country. That this is the reason that there's all this gun violence, and that's just like
Stupid.
what? What year is this that you're still attributing video games to that? Like that's the source. That did it. It was the video games, right? Galaga started it, and now we got Fortnite bringing it home, right? And it's just one of those things that's like, come on now, you know? What year are we living in that we can't understand that? Yes, art has influence on people, right? But
Sure.
is that really the only influence that forced those people to do it?
Nope.
Because there's millions of people playing this, and I don't think you see them doing all the same crazy things. But going with that, Fortnite, Kyle. Fortnite. Now, if you don't play Fortnite, I'm sorry for this little next couple of minutes that you might have to hear us super nerd out about it. But if you do play Fortnite, then you fully understand. And if you don't play Fortnite, you might appreciate how deep we're about to go and excited we're about to get because it is back, baby. Our
Big
beloved
time.
game is back. So if you don't know, the new Fortnite season came out on Thursday the 20th, February 20th, and it ended the longest season in Fortnite history. Actually, right? It was almost double some of the season's lengths, which just means it got so stale. So because if you're saying, what does that actually mean? It just means the game got stale. They didn't really update anything new, do any drastic changes to the game. Every season brings new changes, new types of gameplay, and it just revives the game, freshens it up for everyone. And with this season came a lot of interesting things. You get new skins, you get a new theme, basically, for the underlying online story kind of thing that they kind of portray for each season.
Yeah, just
And,
through the
and
line.
this season we got like spies and a spy agency, good and bad type thing going on. It's a lot of fun, but with that we got a lot of different changes to the game, right? So one thing that they changed is they added mythic weapons to the map, right? Which they've been trying to do for a very long time. And so far it hasn't always gone the best. They started out with a sword, one sword on the map, and it devastated the game. As Kyle may remember, you land on top of this castle, there's one sword. If you get it, it
You can
almost
dominate.
destroys everything, right? It was just like, if you get it in the game, you could walk out with tens of kills, and it was just like being wild, right? And then they went in and they added the lightsabers. And that became a lot better. The lightsabers were more equal. They were spread out around the map. More people could get them. And now I think they've done the best rendition of it, where there's these mythic weapons that are a little more powerful, right? But they're not necessarily game breaking yet, right?
And they're also hard
Obviously,
to get.
yes. Also, they're hard to get. You have to kill a boss to get them, while other people are there trying to kill you and kill the boss, and there's other bots trying to shoot you. It's just a lot, right? And they implemented it so well, and that's just one of the things that they added. Why is my mind blanking on what else they've added this season?
Well, they're going to be adding helicopters.
There's a lot. They added a bunch of new points of interest. And the game just feels fresh again. It feels fun. They took out some things like traps that kind of slowed the pace of games down, because now you could push into people without having that repercussion of possibly just getting absolutely destroyed by someone on a computer who could place 17 traps around you and murder you. And I think, and we've talked about this a lot, I think they got rid of skill-based matchmaking, right? Now, there's two things that may have happened. Either they still have it and everyone's such a low level in the game that you're all meshed together, or they got rid of it. Because I don't know if you've noticed, I feel like I'm hitting people. I've encountered people who are still a lot better than me, but I'm also encountering people who are just like they build
Potatoes.
a wall, a ramp, and they're just like, okay, this is the builds I know. Let me try to shoot at this guy, and I'm the really good player now. And I haven't had that in a while. So it's very interesting to see. I am excited, but I'm still holding out my full, like, this season's great vibes for another week or two. When things get settled in, people get used to the play style. It's still very new. So people have to come up with strategies for this play style to absolutely dominate. So I'm very excited to see about that. But with a lot of it, it seems like they're also trying to play into like content creators almost. Like it's a fun season where you could get a lot of content out of it. So that's exciting because I think that's good for the game. If you look on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, the game is back up in numbers, which is very good to see. A lot of creators are playing it. And it's just excited to see our Fortnite that we grew to love come back like this. But that's not the only topic I have. It does pertain with that a little bit, but it also pertains just with a lot of video games in general. And how much should a video game company listen to their fan base, right? Because it is with every single game you see people, there's forums, there's message boards, there's Twitter, there's social media. Everyone talks about the game, right, in that culture. And they have their comments. They have what you should do. They need to fix this. They need to change that. Fortnite's crazy with it. Call of Duty's crazy with it. Overwatch. All these big games. There's people commenting on, they need to do this. They need to do that. They need to do this. They need to change this. And some companies go and run with it and they change certain things. But some companies don't. And then some companies just don't comment at all. Right? And it's just, I get where a company needs to be like, well, no, but like we're creating the game. We have this vision that we want to go with it. We need to do this or that. But the question from me to you is, how much do you think, what do you think companies, how, especially nowadays with the internet and all of this, like accessibility to voice your opinions, how much should the companies take that into consideration?
I think with everything, I think like with everything, rather, it's all about balance. You know, you can't go full tilt and go with whatever your audience says, because your audience isn't all game developers. They don't understand market strategies and all these things. You need to have some small appeasement of your fan base and show them that you do care about their feedback. But at the same time, you also have to realize they aren't the ones whose jobs are at stake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, a lot of times with these forums and stuff, I don't think it's the entire player base. I think that sometimes that there's vocal minorities, sometimes there's vocal majorities. I think you can say your best bet is to kind of look at the numbers, the data. How well is the game performing in terms of people playing it every day? How well is the game doing in terms of people watching it every day? If that number starts to dip, then you need to see what people are saying to make the game better. But I don't think that if the game is doing well and you have streamer X saying this needs to be implemented to the game. This is trash. This is trash. This is trash. Because player Y could be saying, I really like this game. It's whatever. You know, some people are always going to be negative no matter what, and that's in any genre. There's fans that are just going to be pooing on whatever product it is just because, and even though they're still going to play it. And then there's some people who do give constructive criticism. Like I know you sometimes tweet out about certain things you want removed or added into the game or changed a little bit. So I think it depends really. And I hate being the whole nuance is key guy, but it's true. I think that it depends on the situation. What about you?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think it's a very, and I get it's a hard line to walk, right? I'm not saying it's an easy answer. I'm not saying that one way is going to do better than the other. I think it's the way the companies go about it. One, I think every company, and I know Epic has it in like, I know they're on Twitch, they're on Mixer, they hang out in these bigger streamers chats to kind of get a vibe of the community around it. Then they're on Reddit in the subreddits for that video game, and they talk to people. They make comments here on posts. Like, say there's a glitch and you post a video, they make a comment saying, hey, we're going to thank you for posting this. Like, we're going to get on it, so on and so forth. And I think that's what's needed nowadays. You need to have a certain section to your company, like Epic Games does with Fortnite, and I'm assuming other games have it too. Well, some, because I have a counterpoint. And I think it's needed. Now, there's a video game that also we've been polarized about, me and Kyle, and it's Call of Duty, right? We love it, we hate it, we love it, we hate it. It's fun, it's not, it's stale, it's old, we enjoy it, but it's same thing over again. It's something that we're very mixed about, and what I've noticed with it is I feel like they don't listen to their community
At all, from what it seems.
And they might, right? They might listen to some things, but I don't really know, right? Like, it's just one of those things that, like, they're not out there. Their subreddit, they do have a little activity from Activision, I think, or is this an Infinite? I don't even know. Like, but they have like a little activity from people who work there, but it's not nearly as much as the other communities, and I think that really hinders them now because look at us, like, what are we playing now? We're back to Fortnite, and we're big Call of Duty fans too, right? Like, I'm a huge Call of Duty fan. I'm excited. Like, if they do release a battle royale, I'm gonna play it. I want to try it. I think it could be a lot of fun because I like the Call of Duty play style. I like those guns. I like how it's first person. It's different, right? But I don't think they really make the changes necessary, and I don't think they're adapting to where video games are nowadays. I don't know how you
agree.
feel. Like, yeah, I think like we basically have the same general ideas here, but it's one of those, like, they're polar opposites in a way.
I also think that with Call of Duty, that whole mess with people's accounts being reset essentially really put a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
You had said that we have a love-hate relationship with it. Right now, I'm firm hate. I think that is disgusting. The way you just kind of disregard your player base.
Mm-hmm.
From my knowledge, maybe they fixed it, and I'm not privy to it. But I think the process in which that happened was just a gross handling of the situation, and it shows a lack of care. And I'm someone who, if I don't feel valued as a customer, I'm not giving you my money. Yeah. Simple as that.
And it's one of those things that's like, even with Fortnite though, like, did they really address everything we wanted? No. But did they make up for it in other ways? So far, yes, right? No, that's why I said give it a couple weeks. In a couple weeks, we might be back to being like, well, now we're back at the old thing. But also, in a couple weeks, they might address it, right? So they might address these issues that we've had going on. I think what they're doing with the seasons now is they're not releasing like all of it at once at the beginning, right? For instance, we think there's going to be helicopters in the game, right? There's helicopter pads all over the place. We have an idea that they're going to introduce helicopters. It was in the it was in the little trailer video for season 2. I think they're going to slow release to keep that freshness up, which I think I prefer, right?
Same.
Like, don't blow your load for all intent of like don't throw it all out there at once. So everyone's like, you get that endorphins rush. You're so excited to play, but then halfway through the season it gets boring. Hold some of it out. I don't mind that. I would like to see them implement some. I don't know if there's a rank system. I want to know about it in pubs, right? Like the public
Yeah.
games, not arena. Like have maybe a ranking system for publics where you don't really you just know where you're at, right? I'm not trying to rank up in publics necessarily, but I'd like to at least know who I'm playing against and why, if there is a skill-based matchmaking. And if there's not, then that's fine, right? But
That's
also,
better, in my opinion.
they still haven't released anything about crossplay. Like I think, okay, so people are saying right now, get rid of crossplay, get rid of crossplay. Everyone doesn't like it for the most part. I think like as we said, the vocal majority online is like get rid of it, brah. But they're not seeing the numbers drop, so they're probably not doing. But I think they should make a statement about it. Like
Yeah.
either hold firm and be like, nope, we feel like this is the best move for the game. We're afraid that because like there's some people saying, well, player base numbers have dropped on Fortnite, so if they go back to not forced crossplay, then the servers might be underwhelmed, like type of thing. Like it might it might take longer to get into games. They might not have enough players on PC, for instance, Xbox, for instance.
That'd be shocking.
Or Switch, because I do know I didn't notice I didn't say PS4. I know I just read something about how PS4 has the biggest player base in all of Fortnite, right?
I like that.
Which is fun because me and Kyle, I mean, we're PS4 based boys, right? I play off PC now just because I have it. I might as well use it. But if they went back to unforced crossplay, I'm jumping right back on my PlayStation. But I do think they need to release a statement, right?
Yeah. Well,
As
just
we
address
said,
things.
with a bunch of other things, communication's key, right? If you communicate with your people, then at least we have something going on there. Now, given maybe there's reasons they're not, maybe it's just something they don't see as such a big problem in the community right now that they don't feel like they need to address it. But I guess we'll see where that goes. But besides that, that's really all I have on my video games basis this week.
I mean, Fortnite was the big story.
Yeah,
To be
it was the
honest.
biggest. It was the biggest thing. But basically, just to sum it up, I think that these people need to communicate the best, and I think that taking some of the community's references in hand is great to make them feel heard, to make them
Sure.
still feel like they're a part of the game. But at the same time, I do think these creators need to also implement what they need to implement. They know the best. We're not the creators here, right? If we were,
For
then
sure.
I don't think we'd be on this podcast right now. Like we'd be
No.
creating a game. So it is what it is. It's easier to talk than actually do the work. And that basically sums up all that.
All right. Awesome. So that wraps it up for this episode of
Yes.
Gorilla and the Geek. John, where can the people find you?
So you could find me on mixer.com/Ginger Gorilla, or you could go to mixer.com, just search Ginger Gorilla. Ginger Gorilla Gaming on Instagram, Ginger Gorilla on Twitter, YouTube, Ginger Gorilla. If you just search Ginger Gorilla on those platforms, look for my nice little Gorilla logo, you will find me. And Kyle, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Buff Charmander, where I will post updates for my my own video content, as well as just like memes, whatever. You can find me on YouTube, Geeks Weekly. So it's youtube.com/Geeks Weekly, where I do movie reviews. My partner Sean does comic book reviews, and I mean partner in the channel, not life partner. Although nothing wrong with that. Shout out the LGBTQ plus community. Movie analysis, stuff like that. And yeah, that's all my plugs. Don't forget to, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave the video a like. And again, subscribe to John. We want to get him his own URL on YouTube, and I believe you need 100 subscribers for that.
Yes.
So please flood him with subs.
Also, check out my other videos if you are interested in the video game talk. I do post Fortnite videos. I'm trying to be more active with that. I know it's not been my strongest suit, but I'm trying to get there. And I'm trying to see what else. We're trying to build a community here, as we always say, right? So let us know what you think. If you leave the like, also drop a comment. Just let us know what you think. If you like what we're doing, say that. If you have any ideas for the podcast, let us know. We're always interested in hearing what you guys have to think.
And we always will answer viewer questions as well, or listener questions.
Awesome. Yes. And once again, if you're on one of the apps, rate and subscribe to our podcast, right? Share it with your friends. Let them know what you think. Let them know, hey, these two guys are talking about video games and movies. You might enjoy it. And even if not, you might enjoy just the video game part. Cool. You might just enjoy the the movie part. Cool. We like all ears. We like to talk about both. But
For
let
sure.
us know, right? We're a community here. Kyle, last question I got for you. Do you have any exciting videos that you have ideas putting out soon?
So I have been working on a Superman script for the last 2 months. It's kind of why I have been on a bit of a hiatus from the YouTube. I've been trying to perfect this. It's an analysis video on the character of Superman. It's gonna be my sweatiest video ever, possibly. And I'm also looking at doing a review of either, or maybe both, Honey Boy, the Shia LaBeouf biopic, as well as The Hunters, the new Amazon Prime series with the motherfucking god Al Pacino. So
So,
yeah.
so look forward to that with Kyle. Also, he just gave you an option of two different things that he's looking at doing. So if you think one or the other that he should do, let him know. Tweet at him. Drop a comment down below. He will see him. He will reply. He will, just like that, he's typing with those pointer fingers. He's a pecker. Maybe not. I don't know. I doubt it. A pecker. Yeah, like you never, you peck at the keyboard with one finger each. You never heard that term? Instead of typing like a typist? And I
Oh
think we
my
should
God.
end it there. Guys, this has been the Gorilla and the Geek podcast. Thank you for listening, watching, and supporting us. That's all we got. Peace out, everybody.